That's Brittany.
That's Jonathan.
How's everyone doing? We're going to be doing the Sunday portion of this week's lesson. And it's asking us to read Matthew chapter 6, verse 1. Alright, so Matthew chapter 6, verse 1, and it reads, "Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven." So now it's asking you to read the passage into the story and answer the questions listed in the out of the story of this week's lesson. So we're not going to read the into the story. We'll just give you a real quick summary. So in essence, it's talking about Eli's sons. They were scoundrels. They were doing stuff they weren't supposed to. And Eli tried to scold them, but he wasn't really doing a good job. And they just ignored him and did their own thing anyway. So a man of God came and warned Eli and gave him a prophecy that pretty much everyone in his household is going to die before they reach old age. He will die, and he'll know that this is going to happen because both his sons are going to die at the same day. And that then he prophesied about Samuel, saying that he will raise up a priest to do his will and to anoint his servants. So, yeah. And that Eli's household will beg for jobs from him. And that's pretty much the into the story section.
We're going to go over a few of the out of the story questions that we think are more important and easier to elaborate on. The other ones you should also answer, but you can do that on your own.
What part of the story challenges your view of God, your view of spiritual leaders?
So I think that here, challenges my view of God. Nothing really, because he's like, you're gonna disrespect me in my own house. No, that's it. No, of spiritual leaders though, I could definitely see that if a situation like this was happening like today, and someone from outside the church went into the church and saw that the people who ran the church were raping and being awful human beings in the church, even if it wasn't in the church, just people who are leading are not living the life that they're preaching, that could come back. Yeah, that could definitely sway people away from the gospel, which is literally the complete opposite of the point.
Eli's a perfect example of what a spiritual leader should not be doing. And if you actually look into like the elder's manual, it says to, let's say, be a head elder, your house needs to be in order. So Eli would not make a good first elder, all right? Because his kids are running rampant, just running chaos amok in the church, and he's not really doing anything about it. So he does not have outstanding character to become a head elder or to be any spiritual leader at all. You can't take care of your own household. How are you supposed to take care of yourself? And I go back to one of my favorite verses I like to. There's a multitude of applications. How can you remove the speck of dust out of your brother's eye when you have a log in your own eye? How can you help fix someone else's problems when you have even bigger problems of your own? First, fix your own problems, and then you can help your friend, your neighbor, with their problems. And the same thing with Eli, and in his family, with his sons. And the last question: what lesson emerges from this story that is particularly relevant to your life now? Particularly relevant to my life now. Just as a spiritual leader or as a physical leader, I don't know, but as a leader in the church, it's a wake-up call it should be a wake-up call for anyone who reads this. It should be a wake-up call to anyone who's in an authoritative position to make sure that whoever is under you, the department that you lead or the whether it be at church or at work, or the kids that you lead at school or scouts, whatever, that you get your stuff in order, that you get your organization in order, you get your little household in order. Because if not, God's going to clean up house, whether you want him to or not, and you're going to suffer the consequences for leading his children astray. So, yeah.
And I think that, I mean, for me, it kind of makes it clear that even if you think that you deciding to go your own way isn't going to affect anybody else, it's your decision, and you're like, it's just me. Everything you do has an impact on everybody else. Anybody who sees you, even if you're not necessarily in a leader position, someone out there looks up to you, and whatever you do, they will see, and it has a ripple effect, and you could be the reason that they don't find salvation.
Yeah.
So don't be that person.
Indeed. What do you think should be highlighted?
It's asking what should be highlighted between how Eli's parenting style affected his sons, or how his sons' hypocrisy impacted Israel, right?
Yeah.
Both. But technically, it's all Eli's fault.
If it wasn't for if it wasn't for Eli's parenting style, his sons would not be the thieving, plundering, raping maniacs they were. So, if you're going to prevent a tap from dripping, putting a bucket underneath it is not going to solve the problem. It's still going to drip. You need to cut it off at the source. So, take the tap apart, fix the leaky seal, and you don't have a leaky faucet anymore. It's the same thing here. Why target? Yes, Eli's sons, the hypocrisy, how it impacted Israel, should be highlighted, but the main point of the lesson is to highlight Eli's parenting style. And then the consequences of following Eli's parenting style is his sons, how they turned out. What do you think?
And I think it really shows how one person, even if you didn't do anything necessarily, he was negligent to his duty as a father and as a priest. Mm-hmm. And that made his sons turn into what they were, and then that made an entire nation of people not where they should have been. So you really have to watch who you are as a person, because even just not saying anything could have that effect on people.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. What do you think is a message God has for you in this story?
I mean, I think we've kind of went over throughout this episode that God is trying to tell us to watch our character, and that our character has an impact on other people's characters, and we could end up being the reason why someone doesn't find salvation, why someone strays off the path that they're supposed to be on. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to be those people. And I'm sure that if you sat down and realized that even two people in your life that you only talked to once ended up not choosing Christ because of the way that you acted, I'm sure you would rethink your entire life. Yeah. And this story should be a wake-up call for you to realize that even looking at someone funny could have the hugest impact. So you have to watch everything that you do. You can't just be.
I agree with that. And that's all for the Sunday portion of the lesson.
Stay in school.
Sabbath school. Stay in Sabbath school.